कि इस कोर्स का जो सार है, फ्रीक्वेंसी, आर्किटेक्चर, मेडिटेशन, मंत्रास, ज्योमेट्री, शेप, सबका एक ब्लेंड है डॉक्टर प्रभाकर राव। इज अ पीएचडी, वो पीएचडी हैं प्लांट साइंस में, रिनाउंड इंटरनेशनल आर्किटेक्चर हैं, मेडिटेशन टीचर हैं एंड नेचुरल फार्मर, एक ग्लोबली नोन नेचुरल फार्मर हैं, सीड कीपर हैं। तो मैं ज़्यादा आपका समय नहीं लूंगी और अपने ट्रस्ट के बारे में कृतिका ने बता दिया है। हम नेचुरल फार्मिंग को प्रमोट करते हैं और इस कोर्स के लिए डॉक्टर प्रभाकर राव को आमंत्रित करते हैं और वो आके सर आगे हमें इस कोर्स के बारे में बताएंगे। थैंक यू।
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this Durga Mandala Vaatika course. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all, and it's going to be a very exciting 4 days. Hopefully, हम बहुत कुछ सीखेंगे इधर और बहुत कुछ अनुभव भी करेंगे, है ना? तो ये मंडला वाटिका होता क्या है? Just give me a thumbs up if my audio is okay, guys. Yeah, thanks. So ये मंडला वाटिका होता क्या है? मंडला वाटिका एक संस्कृति नाम है. The name Mandala Vatika is from Sanskrit, and mandala denotes a circle. A circle because it's a perfect geometry. The most perfect form in geometry is a circle, but it is widely used to represent sacred geometry. So we will come to what sacred geometry is. And Vatika means gardens. So mandala Sanskrit में round, circle, goal, क्योंकि वो परफेक्ट शेप है एक. लेकिन ज्यादातर हम इसको यूज करते हैं सेक्रेड ज्योमेट्री, जो नक्शा होते हैं तंत्र की, उसको डिस्क्राइब करने के लिए मंडला हम बताते हैं. वाटिका तो बगीचा है. तो मंडला वाटिका इज ए ब्यूटिफुल साइंस दैट वाज ऑलमोस्ट लॉस्ट. हमने पूरा इसको खो चुके थे ऑलमोस्ट, क्योंकि दिस ट्रेडिशन has somehow got, it was either protected too much or it was perverted. मतलब इसका या बहुत ही अधिक इसको छिपा के रखते थे लोग, या इसको एकदम सत्यानाश कर देते थे. Like if you go to Google, for example, and you type in mandalas or yantras, you will get all kinds of advertisements. You want your enemies to suffer or go away, there is a mandala for that. You want somebody to fall in love with you, they have a mandala for that. You want somebody to fall out of love, they have a mandala for that also. So they have all kinds of mandalas which they sell for fabulous amounts, from anything from 50 rupees to 500,000 Indian rupees. You will have mandalas and yantras being sold left, right and center to very gullible people. तो ये एक दुरुपयोग है, ये मंडला की जो तंत्र है उसका एक दुरुपयोग है. So it is a perversion of that science. Yeah, what happens is that people protect it very closely because it's a very, very powerful science. So इसको जो है एकदम गुप्त ज्ञान बना के उसको छुपा के रखते हैं. तो that is also a way by which this knowledge never comes to the public. ये आम आदमी तक पहुंचता ही नहीं है. So how did I stumble upon this? In 2002, Pujya Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji, he asked me to design a garden in the ashram. And I asked him, Gurudev, please give me a brief. Because being an architect, I always get a brief from my clients. और वो इतना मोटा brief होता है, उसमें हर चीज क्या चाहिए, उसका कुत्ता को क्या चाहिए, बिल्ली को क्या चाहिए, बीवी को क्या चाहिए, ड्राइवर को क्या चाहिए. They have a requirement for everything. So I expected a nice big brief Gurudev will give me to what he wants from this garden. But being Gurudev, he said, just imagine 5,000 years ago, imagine what a garden would have been. ऐसे ही बना देना. बस एक 5,000 साल पहले कैसा होता था एक वाटिका, ऐसा ही बना देना. So that time I was based in Dubai. That's where I ran my consultancy, and I started to dig into the literature of what would have been the principles. वो सिद्धांत क्या था जिसपे आधारित वाटिका बनते थे अपनी वेद की जमाने में. 5,000, 10,000 years ago, what were the principles of garden design in the Vedic period was what I started to do research on. फिर पता चला कि काफी इसकी information जो है भारत देश में नहीं है. Most of the information on this science was not in India, but it was in the University of Heidelberg in Germany, where there is a place called the Indische Bibliothek, where Max Muller has retained certain, Max Muller ने उधर अपना texts को, originals को लेके उधर रखे थे safe custody में, and he had made translations and commentaries on that. And then I discovered this wonderful science. You had so many Vatikas. काफी तो आप जानते भी हैं ऐसी, जैसे नक्षत्र वना, नक्षत्र वाटिका, ऋषि वाटिका, Rashi Vatika, Navagraha Vatika. So these are all common. The one that is dedicated to the 27 stars, to the 12 zodiacs, to the Navagraha, yeah, the 9 planets. So these gardens are still there. अभी भी मिलते हैं, कहीं कहीं जो है आपको ये वाटिका मिलेंगे, मंडला वाटिका मिलेंगे. लेकिन what I found there was a Mandala Vatika for almost any god that we can think of. There was a Siddhi Vinayaka Mandala Vatika, और था वरलक्ष्मी वरमहालक्ष्मी मंडला वाटिका, दुर्गा मंडला वाटिका, फिर सुब्रमण्य मंडला वाटिका, सुदर्शन मंडला वाटिका, रुद्र मंडला वाटिका. So there were so many kinds of mandala vatikas. That was astonishing for me. So I started to do a lot of research on this, because एक तो था उधर क्या था, थोड़ा सा एक लक्ष्य था, एक नक्शा था. There was a small drawing of the Mandala Vatika and a little bit of what plants were being used in that Vatika, etc. That was all that was there in those texts. And because most of the texts were not complete texts. So I started to do research that if I want to revive this science and bring it to the people, how should the people understand this science? तो इसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए थोड़ा सा आपको साइंटिफिक नॉलेज भी चाहिए, थोड़ा अपनी वेद की ज्ञान भी चाहिए. यू नीड द वैदिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग, यू नीड द साइंटिफिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग, एंड यू नीडेड टू रिलेट टू योर लाइफ. आपके लिए क्या मतलब है ये मंडला वाटिका, वो जब मैं आपको बताऊं तो आपका इंटरेस्ट रहेगा इसमें. योर इंटरेस्ट विल बी किंडल्ड इफ आई show you how this science relates to your day-to-day life on this planet. So this is what I started to do research in 2002. And in 2017, Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji, he gave me the permission, he blessed that we could actually make a manual to teach this particular science. And this year, just after the COVID started, he gave me permission to teach this online. So this entire course is actually through his blessings, his inputs and interactions with him. And यही है एक गुरु तत्व. वो गुरु का तत्व पे ही इधर 4 दिन में आप जो भी अनुभव लेंगे, जो भी ज्ञान पाएंगे, वो आता है गुरु तत्व पे. So we will talk a lot about these guru tattvas and all other tattvas. But first thing, मैं आपको ये बताना चाहता हूं, and I would like to make this clear at the outset, that we have all kinds of participants in this class. कुछ लोग उनको साइंस और मैथमेटिक्स पे इंटरेस्ट ही नहीं है, उनको क्या लेना देना है. Why do we want to know about modern science and mathematics and cutting edge theory of chaos theory and Mandelbrot fractals and all that? They are not interested in that. They want to know, what is this Mandala Vatika? How is it relevant to my life? Some people may be interested in the Vedic understanding. What do Vedas say about Mandala Vatikas? Lot of you would actually want to know, how does science, how does modern science validate Mandala Vatika? Some of you might say, I don't want to know all this. I want to make a Mandala Vatika at my house. I want to make one Durga Mandala Vatika in my balcony or my terrace or in my garden. And that's all I want from this course. So we have got many kinds of participants. I will be addressing, मैं हर एक किस्म की पार्टिसिपेंट को मैं एड्रेस करूंगा. तो अगर मैं साइंटिफिक वालों से बात कर रहा हूं एंड आपको ये साइंस वगैरह जो है इतना आपको इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, तो कोई बात नहीं, आप थोड़ा सब्र कीजिए, बिकॉज आई विल टॉक टू यू ऑल्सो. आपका भी बारी आएगा, मैं आपसे भी बात करूंगा. सो फर्स्ट आई विल एड्रेस द साइंटिफिक कम्युनिटी और साइंटिफिकली इंक्लाइंड thinkers who would like everything to be explained through modern science. तो इसका एक है. Then जो वेद की अंडरस्टैंडिंग बहुत लेना चाहते हैं, who would like to go deep into the Vedic understanding, of these mandalas. What are these mandalas? Why are they drawn like that? What is this sacred geometry? What are these various energies and forces that we talk about? How does Vedas look at it? How does the Vedic tradition look at it? So I will discuss that. Then jab main unse, when I am talking to them, the scientific people, if you don't relate to what I am saying or you don't understand what I'm saying, give a pause, because I have addressed you, now I am addressing them. Similarly, Joe, who just want to know how is it relevant to my life, I will address that also. And home gardeners or home landscapers who want to make this garden in your house, I will address you also. So at different points, I will be talking at different domains of knowledge. From different domains of knowledge, I'll be approaching this. So when I am not in your domain, I ask you to be a little patient with me. Okay. Having said that, now when I talk about scientifically minded people, it is very interesting because in this course, we have got scientists sitting here with me. We've got people from IITs, we've got people from very prominent universities in the US, in Europe, who are sitting in this course. I have got very eminent Sanskrit scholars sitting in this course. So all of you, I want to converge so that we can all start at the same page. So even for people who look at life through scientific temperament, what is scientific temperament? You want that relationship between cause and effect. You want every fact to be easily replicable and testable. And you want third party endorsement for any of the findings. It is not my experience that I discovered, then I found myself, I was floating in the air somewhere. No, that is not. Is there irrefutable scientific proof, scientific methodology? You would like to understand that. So even for people who think like that, I found that many people do not really know what has happened in science in the past 5 years. In the past 5 years, scientific understanding of the nature of creation, the origin of creation, the nature of the fundamental particles which make up this universe, it has changed so dramatically that I need to bring even you up to speed. इतना बदलावट हुआ है कि आज विज्ञान क्या बोल रहा है कि हम जो छूते हैं, हम जो देखते हैं, हम जो रिलेट करते हैं ये सृष्टि में, वो सृष्टि बना हुआ है किस चीज से, वो साइंस में भी पिछले 5 साल में बहुत बदलावट आ गया है. So except for maybe because the newspapers spoke about the Higgs boson, many people are not aware what is happening in the latest in quantum field theory, in subatomic particle physics, in astronomy, in cutting edge mathematics. What is happening? People are not aware. So in the first part today, what we will do is we will approach and try to understand where is science today. Then same problem with my Vedic people. People who look at life through a Vedic understanding, or in the way of our Puranas, in the way of our Upanishads and our Vedanta philosophy. Even people who look at life through this, they are also not available. They are also not aware of what is the essence, what is the ultimate truth. When you go deep into the Vedas, when you go deep into the Rig Veda, what does it say about creation? Even they don't know. So we need to bring everybody on page today. So this is going to be my effort. सबको पहले एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म पे ले आते हैं और फिर हम एक्सप्लोर करते हैं ये मंडला वाटिका का तंत्र क्या है ना? So first of all, when we want to understand what is this universe made of, how do I tell you what is the latest in research? Of course, I myself do an extreme amount of Google Scholar research. I keep myself updated in what's happening in CERN and what's happening in all the universities. What are the scholars doing? I do keep myself updated, but I find that one of the best ways of doing this is to go to YouTube channels which have got experts who cull this knowledge together and present it. Arvin Nash, for example, is one of the guys. You've got Tyson DeGrasse, who brings beautiful. There are a lot of masterclass people who, bring the essence of what is the latest in science. Yeah. So I will be now playing some of the excerpts from there. And फिर जो वेद में interest है, those who are interested in the Vedic traditions, we will delve very deep into that. So we are going to go into texts like Nasadiya Sukta. Many Vedic people who are interested in the Puranas and the Vedanta, they don't know about Nasadiya Sukta. And what does Nasadiya Sukta say about our world, about our creation? So all this we are going to very quickly cover in the first session today. Okay. So without much ado, I will share screen and we will start with what is the latest understanding of particle physics. Okay. And in between that, I will slice in what Pujya Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, based on his understanding of Nasadiya Sukta and other deep Vedic texts, has to say about the same thing. So just give me a thumbs up if you guys can. Let me just take the floating panel up so that I can see you guys. Yeah, thumbs up. Okay. And just give me a thumbs up if you can hear the audio as well.
What is the universe really made of? What is truly fundamental in the reality that we perceive? In 400 BC, Greek philosopher Democritus came up with the idea of atoms as being fundamental. He believed that these were solid pieces of matter which could not be divided any further. 2,300 years later, in 1897, J.J. Thomson discovered something smaller than an atom, called the electron. And in 1912, Ernest Rutherford discovered that atoms had nuclei. Then we found that nuclei were composed of protons and neutrons. These were thought to be the fundamental components that all things are made of until the 1960s, when we found that neutrons and protons were composed of even smaller things called quarks. Two kinds, up quarks and down quarks. Today, everything that you can see around you is thought to be made up of just these three particles: electrons, up quarks, and down quarks. That's what all atoms are made of. Your phone, your desk, your skin, your grass, everything. This is what most people are taught in science class. The only problem is, it's not true. And physicists have known this for decades. These particles are really not fundamental. The best theory in physics tells us that there really are no particles at all.
How this entire universe is nothing but space. What we consider matter simply does not exist. Dr. Dur, who is one of the greatest scientists of today of quantum physics, he told me something very beautiful. He said, Guruji, 35 years I've been teaching, I'm studying, doing research on matter only to know it doesn't exist. He says, now I know it doesn't exist, and I've been studying that thing that doesn't exist at all.
So what in the heck are these fields, and what do they tell us about the nature of reality? The idea of particles, even the particles that I've talked about numerous times composing the standard model, is not what the universe is actually made of. The particles are fiction. They're convenient representations that are not really the best understanding of the universe today. The fundamental nature of the universe are not particles, but fields. These are fluid-like substances that can be perturbed, they can vibrate and experience excitations. If you take a strong metal box and remove everything from it, all the gases, all the atoms, all the photons, what will be left in that box? This is what we think of as a vacuum, like the vacuum of empty space. But in fact, this vacuum is alive with fields, and they're constantly moving and changing. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle means that a quantum field cannot sit still. Instead, they're moving and vibrating and changing their value over time. This is a computer simulation of empty space. All the bubbles that you see popping and bursting are perturbations of empty space. Particles are constantly being created and destroyed in this emptiness. But these particles are really excitations of fields that pervade all of space.
So what we consider uh, the subatomic particle, the quarks and all these, they are simply wave functions, are simply vibration. So the entire universe is nothing but just vibrations. Just vibrations and vibrations and vibrations. And that's what the Vedas have said, declared from thousands of years ago. They said the universe is nothing but an impulse of knowledge and vibrations. And everything is made up of that sound vibration, they said. Knowledge vibration.
When you call someone on your cell phone, you're putting excitations in the field and affecting the electronics within the cell phone of the person you're calling. This is action at a distance in practice, except it's not action at a distance. Your cell phone is creating excitations in the electromagnetic field that is propagating from you to the cell tower and eventually onto the receiver on the other end.
With today's information technology, it's astounding to know how you just click a button and send an information, type something. That information goes in the space and it gets transmitted all across the globe. Not only just the globe, even beyond our solar system. So much far beyond our solar system, all the information is by capsule sent, can be sent out to anywhere in the world. And this is exactly what the Vedic rishis have been saying, and they believed for so many years, that they said in every particle, in every little atom or in every vibration, you have the entire universe encapsulated in it.
So you see that basically what the scientists are saying today is there is no such thing as a particle. It's only the excitation of a wave function. It's a field. And if that field, say this is a field, and if this field starts to vibrate, then at some point those vibrations become significant enough so that there appears to be a particle. इस वैज्ञानिक लोग अभी बता रहे हैं कि कोई पार्टिकल है ही नहीं, सब स्पंदना है. पूरा ये सृष्टि जो है, ये माया जो है, ये एक स्पंदना है. अलग अलग स्पंदना इंटरैक्ट करके जो है ऐसी एक ब्रह्मांड बनाए. तो ये मॉडर्न साइंस बात कर रहा है. This is what modern science is talking about. And so we will explore this one step more, what the science has to say and what our traditions have to say.
You can see in the world around you are excitations of these fields. In fact, all you can see is really only the excitations of 4 of the fields. You can see photons or light, which are vibrations in the electromagnetic field. Electrons are vibrations in the electron field. Up quarks and down quarks make up the protons and neutrons in the nucleus of all atoms. They are vibrations in the up quark field and down quark field, respectively. Amazingly, everything that you can see around you, your phone, your desk, flowers and trees, the earth below your feet, everything is composed of just these 4 fields. But there are more than just these 4 fields. In fact, everything that we designated as particles in the standard model, the best theory of physics we have, are really excitations or vibrations of their own fields. The total number of fields would be 17, including the Higgs field. Note that space-time itself is thought to be a field, but so far has not been able to be incorporated in quantum field theory. It would be the 18th field. All the so-called particles are really waves. And when I say wave, I don't mean a wave like an ocean wave. The 2D models are just a visual aid, but the waves would actually be 3-dimensional. Can you see any of these fields? Not really, but you can kind of get an idea by putting a magnet together with some metal filings. The lines that you see are really the magnetic field lines changing due to the magnet. Another way to visualize fields is to imagine the volume of the universe being filled with water, as if we were living in an ocean. Now imagine that instead of water, the ocean is filled with multiple fluids, about 17 different kinds of fluids, and these fluids are of different colors. This may look really spectacular and weird, but this is somewhat analogous to what our universe actually looks like, except that you cannot see these fields. Fields can also explain how particles can be created and destroyed. So for example, when a neutron decays to a proton, an electron, and an antineutrino, how does this happen? Was the electron hiding in there? Where did it come from? Fields have the property that they can give their vibrations or energy away. If you strike the field hard enough, they will affect other fields. So in this decay, the energy of the quark field of the neutron can be transferred to the quark fields of the proton, plus electron field and antineutrino fields. In addition, particles and antiparticles are excitations in the same field. They're just described as equal and opposite excitations of the field. This is represented by two opposing waves. When these waves come together, they annihilate each other. But there appears to be a dilemma here because you have learned in school and in my videos too that quantum mechanics is all about discrete things. That's why it's called quantum. But fields are continuous, not discrete. So there appears to be a conflict here between the idea of the discreteness of particles as presented in quantum mechanics and the continuous nature of fields. So how are these two ideas reconciled? The combining of field theory with quantum mechanics is called quantum field theory, or QFT. So essentially, all the excitations of fields happen only in chunks of energy. The energy of the wave is determined by the mass of the particle. What is a mass? A mass of a particle is just the energy needed to vibrate its field. Energy, if you recall, is equivalent to mass using Einstein's famous equation, E equals mc squared. The field will simply not accept energies below a certain threshold. Once you tap the field hard enough, however, a particle is created. This discrete unit of energy that the field can accept is what we call the rest mass energy of the particle in a field. It is the fundamental amount of energy that must be added to the field in order to create a particle. So for example, one electron is created when an electron field is excited by 0.511 mega electron volts, which is the mass of one electron. If you add energy equivalent to 0.4 mega electron volts, no particle gets created. If you put in 1.1 mega electron volts, then 2 electrons get created, and so on. This works for all the particles. All the electrons in your body and my body are waves in the same underlying field. The field is fundamental. The electrons are not. Also present in this room and your room are the up quark field and the down quark field. And all the atoms in your body are composed of particles which are ripples in these three fields. It's the same field that you, I, and everyone on Earth is in. In fact, it's the same field that all the other planets and the sun is in. We are basically composed of ripples in the same three fields everywhere in the universe. So for example, the shape of the electromagnetic field is the wave function of photons. The shape of the electric field is the wave function of electrons, and so forth. The wave function is what really exists. And when you observe the electron, you don't see the wave function because the wave function has collapsed into a discrete value. This can be predicted by Schrodinger's equation. The fields are vibrating and modulating, but when you measure them, they resolve into individual packets of energy called particles. So quantum mechanics says that fundamentally, reality is different when you measure it versus when you don't. Every particle in the universe is a tiny ripple in the underlying field, molded into a particle by the machinery of quantum mechanics. The quantum fields vibrating at every location in space and throughout time are the fundamental building blocks of nature. So the age-old question of whether light is a particle or wave can be answered. They are waves. A particle is just what manifests when we measure the wave. Or are they just mathematical constructs? Even though a field is made of no substance that physicists know of, fields are considered real physical stuff. This is because they exist in space and have energy. In addition, their properties can be calculated and accurately predicted by experimental results. Now we get back to the question, are these fields fundamental? Well, I think it's fundamental in the sense that it is the limit of our understanding, but it could very well be that these fields are just an approximation of a deeper level of reality. Because ultimately there should be some fundamental reason why these fields have the properties that they do. Why does the electron field have a minimum requirement of 0.511 mega electron volts? Why does it obey mathematical rules? Will we ever know the answer? Unlike many physicists, I think we will. We may not even be asking the right questions. In the famous words of a certain Secretary of Defense, there are known unknowns and unknown unknowns. And I think the answer will come when we humans know enough to ask the right question.
That's what.
Sorry.
You can see in the world around you exists, and when you observe the electron, you don't see the way that it is the limit of our understanding. But it could very well be that these fields are just an approximation of a deeper level of reality. Because ultimately, Secretary of Defense, there are known unknowns and unknown unknowns. And I think the answer will come when we humans know enough to ask the right question.
That's what is called mantra. Mantra is that vibration which contains information, which contains knowledge. The ancient people have said that in Bindu, in a drop, the ocean is contained. Said in one ray, the entire cosmos is contained. Similarly, in one human soul, spirit, the vast infinity is contained. The Paramatma, the divinity, the unfathomable space is contained in the individual self, our soul.
So this is very, very interesting because what the scientist is saying, अभी विज्ञान लोग क्या बता रहे हैं कि सारा का सारा जो अभी ये सृष्टि हम देख रहे हैं, हम अनुभव कर रहे हैं, वो सिर्फ एक स्पंदना है. They are just waves. And वो waves में, वो स्पंदना में, ये लहर में जो है, ऐसा महसूस होता है कि एक पार्टिकल पैदा होता है, वो पार्टिकल से ये पूरा ब्रह्मांड बनता है. So this understanding that the whole of this universe is only a series of interacting wave functions, which is what the string theory basically says, that ultimately this entire universe is made up of vibrating strings which interact with each other. तो वो विज्ञान बोल रहा था कि ये 17 टाइप, 17 टाइप की फंडामेंटल पार्टिकल्स है. Then if you take the particles and its mirror called the sparticle, S particle, so there will be spozons and there will be, you know, everything with an S, another 17. ऐसा जो है ये लोग इनको और बड़ा बड़ा के जो है इनकी बहुत सारे नाम दिए गए हैं. They are given a lot of names to those vibrating wave functions which create this entire universe. This is what quantum field theory says. But our Vedas also said the same thing. Only thing, we had many vibrating wave functions which we called tattvas. इन वेद, अपने वेद में जो है हम ये स्पंदना, ये एनर्जी को तत्व बोलते हैं. उधर उनको बोसॉन या मुऑन या क्वार्क्स या जो भी नाम देते हैं वैज्ञानिक लोग, उसी का जो है हम नाम अलग अलग टाइप की तत्व ऐसा हम देते हैं. एंड जस्ट रिमेंबर, ऑल आवर रिसर्च कंसर्न्स मैटर, विजिबल मैटर, जो हम छू सकते हैं, देख सकते हैं, अनुभव कर सकते हैं, उसके बारे में. और all that matter in this universe is only 5%. 95% is dark energy and dark matter. लेकिन अपने वे, so even for this 5%, they already have maybe 50-60 types of subatomic particles that the science is talking about today. माने अभी ये 5% जो सबएटॉमिक ये यूनिवर्स है उसको डिस्क्राइब करने के लिए कम से कम उनके पास जो है 60-70 पार्टिकल्स का, वेव फंक्शंस का नाम दिए हैं वो लोग. अपना वैदिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग जो है वो 100% को समझता है, वो डार्क मैटर को समझता है, वो डार्क एनर्जी को समझता है. और हम जो है अनेक तत्व, हमारी वेद में ये तत्वों को रिकॉग्नाइज किया है हम. और इन तत्वों का नाम दिया है, और हर एक का नाम एक भगवान का नाम दिया है। हम शिव तत्व बोलते हैं. We say there is a tattva of Shiva, there is a tattva of Brahma, there is a tattva of Vishnu, there is a tattva of Rudra, there is a tattva of Subramanya, there is a tattva of Durga. We have given them names and we call them gods. Scientists have also given names. They call them wave functions, bosons and quarks and muons and leptons and all. They have also given names. We have also given names. Why do we have so many tattvas? Because we are describing 100% of the universe. Scientists are still reaching. Now they have said that even Higgs boson may not be a fundamental particle. Higgs boson could have further components, which are again vibrating strings, which create that Higgs boson property, which gives mass to a particle. So अभी और भी वो लोग डिस्कवर करेंगे, और तत्व नहीं, उनको वेव फंक्शन कहते हैं, हम तत्व कहते हैं. तो हम जो तत्व बोलते हैं, दुर्गा तत्व जब हम बोलते हैं, ये दुर्गा मंडल वाटिका कोर्स में, ये दुर्गा तत्व जो है साइंटिफिकली देखा जाए तो इट इज दुर्गा वेव फंक्शन. So this understanding that what the particle physics and quantum field theory talks about perturbations in waves. So when we talk about a wave, so they said that electron needs 0.55 MV volts, million electron volts. That means इसको ऐसा जोर से मारेगा तभी वो लहर जो है एक पार्टिकल बनेगा. हल्का सा मारेगा तो पार्टिकल नहीं बनता है, और जोर से मारेगा तो दो पार्टिकल बन जाएगा. तो दिस इज व्हाट द साइंटिस्ट सेइंग. हमने तो वेद में 10,000 साल पहले से ही बोल रहे हैं ये बात. दिस इज हाउ द यूनिवर्स इज. और अभी देखते हैं कि एक बहुत ही गहरा सोच, a very deep understanding of the origin of the universe from a beautiful hymn in the Rig Veda, which also Max Muller has translated and kept in Germany. Gurudev talks about the Nasadiya Sukta. And let us hear what Nasadiya Sukta says about the creation of the universe. It's a beautiful, beautiful understanding. Let me just play this for you. Short video, about 2.5 minutes.
So these verses strikingly indicate what today's scientists talk almost in the same language. At first, neither being nor non-being. There was nor air nor yet sky beyond. What was it wrapping? Where, in what protection? Was water there, unfathomable and deep. There was no death then, nor yet deathlessness. Of night or day, there was not any sign. The one breath without breath, by its own impulse. Other than that was nothing else at all. Darkness was there, all wrapped around by darkness, and all was water indiscriminate. All was energy.
You know, when Gurudev says here about darkness was wrapped in darkness, that is the Vedic understanding of the dark matter and the dark energy. What is keeping this universe intact? It is this dark matter and dark energy. If that was not there, this universe would have gone to smithereens by now. तो ये darkness wrapped in darkness, ये है डार्क मैटर और डार्क एनर्जी का. एंड ऑल द यूनिवर्स वाज लाइक अ ओशन. वो ओशन जो हम वेव बोलते हैं, तत्व बोलते हैं, दैट इज व्हाट particles like Higgs boson represent. You cannot see them, they are everywhere, and they give mass to the universe, but by themselves they are just only a perturbation, they are only a wave function.
Discriminate. Then that which was hidden by the void, the one emerging, stirring through power of ardor, came to be. In the beginning, love arose, which was the primal germ cell of the mind. The seers, searching in their heart with wisdom, discovered the connection of being in non being. A crosswise line cut being from non being. What was described above it? What below? Bearers of seed there were, and mighty forces. Trust them below and forward move above. Who really knows? Who can presume to tell it? When was it born? When issued this creation? Even the gods came after its emergence. Then who can tell from where it came to be? That out of which creation has arisen, whether it held it from firm or it did not, he who surveys it in the highest heaven, he surely knows, or maybe he doesn't know. That is very interesting. The last line, he knows, or maybe he doesn't know. Because here, even the knower is part of the phenomenon.
I don't think in any tradition, आपको दुनिया में, सारा दुनिया में आप खोजिए, ढूंढिए, आपको ऐसा एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं मिलेगा जहां अपना 10वां मंडला, in the 10th mandala of the Rig Veda, in hymn number 129, the Nasadiya Sukta, the seer declares that even gods will not know how creation happened. हमारी वैदिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग में अभी हम बोलते हैं कि Vishnu was the creator, Brahma was the creator, then Vishnu is the sustainer, and Shiva is the destroyer, and these gods created the universe. ऐसा हम लोग, काफी लोग ऐसी, we believe that. But in the Vedic understanding, when you go deep into the Vedic understanding, it says that even the gods as we know them, which means all these tattvas cannot know how creation happened because they are a part of the creation. Creation happened before that. And the one who knows, who was there looking at this entire thing from the heavens, maybe he knows how it all happened or why it all happened, or maybe he does not. What an understanding. What a fabulous understanding. No other culture, no other tradition will tell like this, that whom we consider gods, they are also part of creation, and whom we call the ultimate Brahman. The ultimate Brahman, the origin of the origin. Maybe Brahman knows, maybe Brahman doesn't know. ऐसा एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग, बहुत ही गहरा अंडरस्टैंडिंग अपने वेद में है. Our Vedic understanding goes far beyond the quantum field theory, but it also says that from the origin, शुरू में कुछ था ही नहीं, and then out of its own volition, माने अपने आप, उसको कोई कारण नहीं था, लेकिन बिना कारण अपने आप एक स्पंदना शुरू हुआ, और फिर वो तोड़ के, it broke. There were up quarks and down quarks, and there was the massive energies which you can think of the Big Bang and all that. All that happened, and all these wave functions came out of that creation. And these wave functions today give the universe that we experience. आज जो हमें ब्रह्मांड देखते हैं, वो ये सब तत्वों की इंटरैक्शन से हुआ है. So in Durga Mandala Vaatika, what it is that we are going to look at is, we are going to find out the truth about what is this universe. This is the science. ये बहुत ही गहरा तंत्र है जहां हम सीधा जाएंगे पॉइंट पे कि कहां से और कैसा शुरुआत हुआ ये पूरा सृष्टि का. See, if you want to find out the truth about anything, you have to go to the point of origin. है ना? Say suppose something is being investigated. Okay, let the police or the CBI or the CIA is investigating something. How will they find out what actually happened? They have to go to the point when it all started. है ना? In Mandala Vatika, we go to the starting point through the use of sacred geometry, through the use of Bij mantra, and through the use of plant frequencies. We go and become the creator. हम अपने आप को जो क्रिएटर है, जो सब कुछ सृष्टि का जो बनाया, इतना सारा ब्रह्मांड जो बनाया, हम वो बन जाते हैं ये मंडला वाटिका साइंस में, ये तंत्र में हम वो बन जाते हैं. वी बिकम द क्रिएटर. एंड जब हम क्रिएटर बनते हैं और जब वो एक्सपीरियंस होता है कि क्रिएशन कैसा हुआ, तब जो है वी गेट अ ग्लिम्प्स, अ पीक इनटू द ट्रूथ ऑफ द अंडरलाइंग नेचर ऑफ ऑल रियलिटी. सो ये बहुत ही एक गहरा साइंस है जो आपको सीधा ले जाएगा वो पॉइंट पे जहां से सब कुछ शुरू हुआ. Mandala Vatika is a science that transports you to the beginning of creation itself, where you will become the creator. You will experience creation. And in understanding that experience, having that experience of creation, you understand the nature of everything and how this universe operates. So it's a very, very deep and beautiful science. And we will explore this one by one. तो हम पहले जो है अभी now let us see what should be the expectations from this course. ये कोर्स में आप क्या सीखेंगे, फिर क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं आप. First of all, in this course we will understand sacred geometry. जो हमारा मंडला की एक तंत्र है, मंडला की एक विज्ञान है, उसको हम समझेंगे. What is sacred geometry? फिर आप sacred geometry को उसका नक्शा बनाएंगे. You will draw sacred geometry. In fact, you will start today drawing sacred geometry. So we will look at the Western traditions where we see the flower of life, seed of life, fruit of life, tree of life. All that we will see. We will see the Metatron's cube. फिर हम इंडियन ट्रेडिशन में अपना श्री चक्र से जो भी डिराइव्ड है ऐसा मंडला को एक्सप्लोर करेंगे. एंड वी विल एक्सप्लोर इन डेप्थ द दुर्गा मंडला वाटिका, the mandala of Durga. We will go, while drawing that mandala, we will experience the deep secrets that are embedded. बहुत ही रहस्य छुपा हुआ है वो मंडला में, दुर्गा मंडला में. वो रहस्य को समझेंगे. We will understand why those drawings are like that. What are those triangles? What are those circles? What do they represent? What are those ratios of different parts of the mandala represent? हम देखेंगे कि ये मंडला में छिपे हुए रहस्य, दुर्गा कौन है, दुर्गा तत्व क्या होता है, दुर्गा तत्व कहां से आया, ये सब जो है ये कोर्स में हम एक्सपीरियंस करेंगे. We will experience this. It's an experiential course. So we will be understanding sacred geometry, we will be drawing sacred geometry, and we will be experiencing sacred geometry. Then we will combine that with sounds. We will see the relationship between sound and sacred geometry. The science is called cymatics. बीज मंत्र से, उसकी स्पंदना से ज्योमेट्री कैसा बनता है, यंत्र कैसा बनता है, मंडला कैसा बनता है, उसका कनेक्शन देखेंगे हम ये कोर्स में. फिर प्लांट फ्रीक्वेंसीज, जो पौधों की जो स्पंदना होता है, हर एक पौधा उसका एक स्पेसिफिक स्पंदना होता है. Every plant has a specific frequency. You have seen when we have the homas of Navaratri, 1008 plant parts will be offered. Seeds, fruits, flowers, grains, pieces of wood, stem, bark, roots, everything is offered. 1008 offerings is done. Why? Because the Homa Kunda, the sacrificial altar, is sacred geometry. It's a very deep science. How the ratios of the brick and the heights and the circumference, it is sacred geometry. तो मंडला जो है वो अपना होम कुंड है. फिर बीज मंत्र, all the chants that happen, that is the sound frequency. Then the plant frequencies, जो हम होम कुंड में डालते हैं, वो पौधों की जड़ी बूटी, फिर दाने, फल, फूल सब डालते हैं हम. That all these three things combine, and that creates little portals in the universe where you can get a peek. इसीलिए जब हम नवरात्रि में बैठते हैं तो हमारा क्या होता है, हमारा एक कॉन्शियसनेस जो है एकदम उछलता है ना. We get so drawn into that energy of the Devi. What is happening? ये इन तीनों की इंटरेक्शन, ज्योमेट्री, बीज मंत्र साउंड एंड प्लांट, पौधे, इन तीनों के मिलन में वो एक होता है, एक अद्भुत एक्सपीरियंस होता है. एक छोटा सा दरवाजा खुलता है जहां से हम देख सकते हैं कि ये सारा का सारा सृष्टि कहां से आया, कैसे आया और है क्या चीज. That is why we get those vibrations. That is what homas are about. So in Mandala Vaatika, we will explore these deep connections. Then what you will get from this course is, you will be able to make these Mandala Vaatikas. You can either do it in the garden, or आप घर में बैठ के you can draw it on paper. आप पेपर पे बना सकते हैं, बगीचे में बना सकते हैं, टेरेस में बना सकते हैं, balcony में बना सकते हैं. Even on a piece of paper, you can draw the mandala, and then you can take the flowers, which I have sent you by mail, the PDF, which the 9 flowers. वो 9 फूल जो दुर्गा के लिए श्रेष्ठ है, you will offer those flowers to the mandala with the beej mantra. And then you will, the geometry, the mantras, and the plants together will take you into a meditation, which we will do. It is with Gurudev's voice himself. He will take you through a meditation, and that will give you that experience. It's an experiential, but experience is continuous. It is not at any one point. Even when we are drawing the sacred geometry, experience starts to happen. So this is what, and then how to make these mandala vaatikas. Suppose you want to make it in a park or in your garden or in your farm or something. How do you make it? So all this you will learn from this particular course. Yeah? So setting the expectations of the course and now understanding. अभी मैं क्या किया, अपनी वेद की गहराई से जो असलियत, जो रस था, जो अमृत था, उसको पेश किया. वैज्ञानिक, modern science, what it has the latest to say. We have brought everything to one page where we all know कि सारा ब्रह्मांड जो है एक सिर्फ स्पंदना है, स्पंदना का खेल है. It is an interaction of wave functions. Science calls it wave functions. We call it tattvas. They call it all kinds of names for these subatomic particles. We call them gods. That is where we are now as a batch. So here now, let us go and explore another very deep part of this. Let us now start actually to do some sacred geometry. So we are at a very nice time here. I usually try to finish everything by 9:30. I take to the next part of the session. So it is 9:25 now, and 5 minute ka break lete hain. We take a 5-minute break. And if we take this 5-minute break, this is the time when you can have a glass of water. You can have, if you want to use the restroom. At 9:30 sharp, we will start again. And at 10:30 sharp, I promise you, we will close the session. So we will be doing that now. And in the meanwhile, let me go through the chats. Namaste, sir. Is it possible to get live subtitles? At the moment, I'm very sorry, sir. We do not have that technology. It might help most participants switch off video. We are losing connection frequently. It might be an issue from our side too. We don't know. It is most likely, Shishir, from your side, because others are fine. All of you are getting the videos fine. Just give me a thumbs up. Yeah, they're giving me a thumbs up. So it could be maybe you moved closer to your router. I think you will do. Jai Gurudev, could you please speak in English only, since I don't know Hindi? Well, I am speaking in both. the idea is that there are people who are comfortable in both languages. So whatever I am saying, whatever you're hearing in English through the videos or me speaking in English, a small summary is what I am giving in Hindi. Okay, so don't think I'm speaking something new in Hindi. Whatever I've spoken in English, the same thing, I'm giving a small translation and a summary in Hindi for those people who may want that. Otherwise, namaskar, looking truly forward to you. Program is done. My mother faces Hindi issues. Yes, so that is why we speak both languages. But if you have any more questions, will we get a recording? Yes, you will get a recording at the end of the day, and it will be live for 24 hours. So you can watch it again. Vaatika is garden, but we will learn mandala. So why do we call it both? Because mandalas can be without gardens. Mandalas can be just mandalas. Yeah. So in fact, when they become a permanent thing, you call it a yantra. Yeah. So mandalas can be just mandalas without any plants in them. But mandala Vaatika is when you bring in the element of plant, and the why you do that is because you want to incorporate the plant frequencies. Is there an application to our daily life? Yes, there is. We want to explore that. That is the whole point of this course. If there is no application to our daily life, then it's only theoretical course. Yes, we will apply this to our daily life. If all the types of flowers are not available, what is available is can be used along with durvagas. Absolutely. Agar aapke paas no plant hai, if you have 9 flowers, and of the 9 flowers you have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, you keep those, use those, and the rest you substitute it with durva grass. Yeah. So can I please be sent flowers, seeds, and other items? No, you will not be. You have got a PDF which we have shared with you, which says what are the flowers that you need to have for this course. You can get them if you can. If you can't get, please get durva grass, which is growing all over the place. It's called Calcutta dhoop grass. In South India, we call it garke. Cynodon dactylon it's a wild weed grass. Yeah, it grows everywhere. Live in UK, would I be able to do the Mandala Vaatika here? Yes, of course, you will be able to do the Mandala Vaatika. If not with anything, at least to start with Durva grass. Okay, but there are many plants that will survive, so we can. Can you please elaborate your background image? The background image is just sacred geometry. You've got the flower of life here. You've got the Star of David here. So it's just a little bit. In today's setting, we don't live in bungalows. So what is the relevance? Because this science can help you experience that deep connection to the tattvas by sitting at home. Inside your home, on your table, you take a piece of paper, an A3 size piece of paper or any size you want. You will draw the mandala. You will populate it with the flowers, or if you don't have flowers, with the grass. That is, you just take pieces of grass and you keep it there. Yeah, that's the puja. And after you do that, there is the chants which you will do. And then there is a meditation that you will do. This is the art of Mandala Vaatika. So you do this. Rangoli, of course. Rangoli is the remnant. It is the remaining part of the Mandala Vaatika. In the olden days, every house used to have a Tulsi Vana. So they used to have in the courtyard or in front of the house, they will have a small place where a Tulsi plant is grown. Around that, they will put a sacred geometry design. And every morning, they will chant a mantra. That was the Tulsi Mandala Vaatika. Today, all that is gone, only Rangoli designs are left. Yeah. So we not only had Tulsi Mandala Vaatika, we had Subramanya Mandala Vaatika, we had Ganesha Mandala Vaatika, we had Lakshmi Mandala Vaatika, Saraswati Mandala Vaatika, so many Mandala Vaatikas. Today, it has just become a Rangoli design. But when we will need all the flowers, let me just see who's can lotus is used for all 9 flowers? No, please. Each of those flowers are specific. If you have a lotus, you can use that lotus, but that lotus will be used only in the place of lotus. You can't use that in any other place because that lotus is specific to that form of the Devi, and that is only specific for that. Durva grass can be used for all. Okay, Durva grass is a very special thing, and we'll speak about why Durva grass is very special and why it is like a common denominator. Okay, it's like you have Wi-Fi. You don't have a Wi-Fi for audio separate, Wi-Fi for video separate, Wi-Fi for mobile call separate. Wi-Fi. Everything is operating on the same wave function. That's Wi-Fi, right? So similarly, Durva grass is like a common denominator. If you don't have the other flowers or plants, we can use Durva grass. You know, we will speak about this when I talk to you about the mandala and the tattvas, how they operate. Then we will talk about this. Can you summarize in the email what stuff is all required? I have summarized everything. You just need your geometry box, some paper, and the flowers which you have got the list of. How can we manage a Vaatika in Dubai? Oh, very easily. Don't worry. I mean, almost most of the plants that are there in the Vaatika are all growing in Dubai. Yeah. So yes, we can definitely do this. Can you explain the column in South India? Is the same philosophy? Yes. The column or the Rangoli pattern, it is the remnants of the sacred geometry. In fact, in Kerala, even today, they do the mandalas with the rangoli or the column. That column is actually a mandala. Yeah. Durva grass, same as kusha grass. Yes. Flowers needed only on the last day. You're right. How do you define a mandala? You will learn as we go along. Flowers on the last day only. Which day during the sessions will you all need? It's only on the last day. And I've mentioned this very clearly in my mail that you'll require this only on the last day in my welcome mail. All these are, we live in islands, so don't get most of the flowers. Of course, you can use grass. See, if Durva grass was not recommended in our Vedic tradition as the common denominator for all plants, then Mandala Vaatika as a course would have been quite a meaningless course. It would have been only for people in the tropics, you know, who are like landscape architects or something like that. Then Mandala Vaatika is only for them. Yeah. But Mandala Vaatika becomes relevant to everybody. You can sit in your house, whether you're in Antarctica or in Africa or in New Zealand, because this is a science that is there for the common man to use every day. In Lithuania, there is no Durva grass. There is no Durga grass. No. You see, even in Lithuania, wherever you have lawns, there is a grass which they pull out of the lawn, which is called Cynodon dactylon. The grass, the scientific name of it is that. They call it weeds. So it's weed grass. So every time when they mow, when they clean the lawn, they will take out those weeds. Yeah. That is a grass that you need to use. Yeah. So you will find that. Lithuania, you will definitely find. I mean, all those areas, I have seen enough of them. So you will have no problem, Asra, for doing that. How do we identify? I have given a photograph in my mail. In that PDF, you see a photograph there. You can clearly identify that grass anywhere in the world. You can identify that grass. Otherwise, you know, you can Google Cynodon dactylon to get more images if you want. And it's there. Okay. So 9:35 already. So now I want you all to open your A3 size paper. Keep it in front of you. Take out your geometry boxes. For those of you who don't have your geometry sets with you, use freehand. Okay. But draw. Okay, just take a pen or a pencil, keep a pencil and a rubber in front of you. And yes, that is very true. What is actually a weed for the Western world is actually a potent energizer. Yes, we are not talking about that weed. We are talking about grass. Grass as a weed, you know, not that grass, but we are talking about the Durva grass. Yeah, the lawn grass. Yeah, so we are talking about that. Just give me the charger from there and close this door. Yeah. Sorry. So everybody open out your thing. And what we will do is we will now actually explore sacred geometry. We will explore sacred geometry from the Western understanding. Okay. And this is just for us to get a little bit of acquaintance on how to hold a compass, how to draw a circle. Many of us may not have touched geometry sets, I don't know, for many, many decades now. but it's a wonderful experience. So you will really get a lot out of this. Just involve yourself into it. And I will be playing a video which I will continuously stop and play and stop and play, so that uh, you will be okay. So now you see a blank screen in front of you. Okay. Now this is a process actually. So what you will be seeing is total blankness. And I want you to imagine that you are the Brahman, the creator. You're sitting, there is nothing around you. There is not even a point of reference. You have not created space. You have not created time. You have not created any wave function. You've been sitting there, God alone knows for how long. Even Brahman may know, may not know. That's what the Nasadiya Sukta says. And you are just sitting there. Actually, you're in bliss, because the nature of Brahman is bliss. You're totally blissed out. Yeah? And you're sitting there. Now, suddenly, out of your own volition, that means अपने आप अंदर से, अभी आप बैठे हैं, पूरा अंधकार है, अभी तक कुछ सृष्टि नहीं हुआ है, ना कोई समय है, ना कोई आकाश है. There is no space, no time, no nothing. And you are sitting there waiting, not waiting also, आप बड़े आप आनंद में, bliss में बैठे हैं. लेकिन कुछ अंदर से उबलता हुआ, something inside on its own volition starts to vibrate, creating something. So in this video, that is what I want you to experience. So now keep your paper, keep the pen or your pencil on the paper, relax, take a deep breath in. So we'll take a couple of relaxing breaths. Take a deep breath in and breathe out gently. Another deep breath in and breathe out gently. One more breath in and breathe out gently. Now in this relaxed space, just watch and do what you see in the video. पहले कुछ नहीं होएगा वीडियो में. Nothing happens in the video because you are a creator sitting in nothing. You are in nothingness. You are nothingness. You are in nothingness, but you have the potential to create everything from this nothing. This is what our Purna Mantra says, no? That in our Vedic understanding of Shunya is completely different. Shunya does not mean zero. Shunya means that which has the potential to create everything. So आप बैठे हैं एंड बस वीडियो में जो होता है वही कीजिए. पहले कुछ नहीं होएगा, लेकिन चलते चलते you will start doing. So whatever you see on the video and you can hear what is happening in the video, you will do.
So let us do a process, and this process is called creation. Let us imagine for a moment that we are creators, okay? And where we are, there is absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. What you're seeing on your screen, absolutely blank. There is even no space because dimensions have not been created. But it's a very boring place. There is absolutely nothing to do. There is nothing to experience. Just you as a creator, as a being, you are there. You are pure consciousness. You have the potential to create anything you want, but at this moment, you have not created anything. On your own volition, just from within, you get this urge to create something. You want to experience something, because if there is nothing created, there is no experience. As a creator, you are not having any experience. You are just blissed and sitting in this wonderful space where nothing is there, okay? But now you want to create something, and therefore you decide, okay, time has come for me to create. And what you create first is just a point which has no reference. So a point has been created. It's a 0 point, 0 dimension. There is nothing you can do with it. You can't go for walks or you can't eat. There is nothing you can do. It is just a solitary, lonely point. Creation has happened, but there is no reference to anything. It's just you sitting there as this point. And you start to think to yourself, this is getting a bit boring. Let me create a friend. And you create a second point. Now there is reference. There is
तो अभी जो है दो बिंदु लगाया आपने, तो दो फ्रेंड्स आपके बने इधर, और अभी क्योंकि एक बिंदु में तो कोई रेफरेंस पॉइंट नहीं है, वन डॉट इज 0 dimension. But if you put the second dot, you have created the first dimension. तो अभी एक डायमेंशन बन गया जहां पहले बिंदु और दूसरे बिंदु में देयर इज रेफरेंस, कोई एक गैप है, इसके बीच में कुछ अंतर है, देयर इज अ गैप. सो यू हैव क्रिएटेड नाउ द फर्स्ट डायमेंशन because the dot was 0. Now you have created dimension number 1.
reference to your existence because there is another point with which you can relate to. So you have a friend now. Having this friend gives you the first dimension. That means between you and your friend, you can now draw a line. Therefore, you have now created, as God, you have now created the first dimension of existence. So, now you can draw a circle. You can use the 2 points and draw a circle. Now, what you have
सो अभी ऐसा कीजिए कि एक बिंदु पे जो है कंपास का पॉइंट जो है रख लीजिए, और दूसरा पॉइंट जो है उधर पेंसिल का लेड रख के घुमा लीजिए. सो ड्रॉ अ सर्कल यूजिंग वन पॉइंट एज द सेंटर and the other point as the radius.
done is that you have now created in this one dimensional plane, which is like your paper. Okay, you take a paper, a A4 size or A3 size paper, you are God, and you have drawn this circle using the 2 points, and therefore now you have created space inside the circle and outside the circle. You have created the first separation where you have divided that one dimensional space into space within the circle and space outside the circle. Now this is very interesting because now you can do all kinds of things with these spaces. And now take
तो अभी क्या हुआ है कि आपने एक गोल बना दिया, एक सर्कल बना दिया. यू क्रिएटेड अ सर्कल व्हिच मींस यू हैव क्रिएटेड नाउ टू डायमेंशंस, है ना. नाउ देयर इज अ टॉप, देयर इज अ बॉटम, देयर इज अ लेफ्ट साइड, देयर इज अ राइट साइड. So you have created two dimensions from a single dimension. So as a creator, you started with 0 dimension, then you created 1 dimension, now you have created 2 dimensions. अभी ये 2 dimension में तो काफी कुछ कर सकते हैं हम लोग. तो जाके आगे देखिए, और जो भी स्क्रीन पे हो रहा है, you keep doing. So whatever you see on the screen, you keep doing on your paper.
take a piece of paper now, and all of you take your time now to draw a circle on your piece of paper with a compass. All you have to do is draw a nice sized circle, and you have that on your paper, which is your first act of creation after the 2 points. Now, once you have the circle, the 2 points which were there earlier, you can do some wonderful things with these points, like drawing another circle. Now, this intersecting two circles are very important because this is called the Vesica Piscis. In sacred geometry, this Vesica Piscis is a very, very important sacred geometric symbol. There are many, many things you may have seen, you may have heard, but this is the basis of the eye of Horus. So if you flip it to the side and perhaps give a little tail for a flourish, what you get is the eye of Horus. The stylized version of the eye of Horus you would have seen in Egyptian hieroglyphics. It's a very, very, very important sacred geometric symbol in the way the Egyptians looked at creation and the way the Egyptians looked at the truth of all nature and reality. So, this is interesting. In the Vesica pieces now, 3 points have emerged if you see clearly, and you can draw a triangle and
तो अभी ये दो सर्कल जब कट होता है तो एक सर्कल, एक बिंदु जो सर्कल पे था, अगर उधर पॉइंट पकड़ के दूसरा सर्कल खींचते हैं तो आपको जो है ये सेंटर वाला ये वेसिका पीसेस बोल के एक नैन का शेप होता है. इट हैज द शेप ऑफ एन आई. एंड ये बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग है. हमारा वैदिक ट्रेडिशन में भी ये बहुत आता है. तो वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड में इसको वेसिका पीसेस बोलते हैं. और जैसे ही ये वेसिका पीसेस बनता है तो समथिंग वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग हैपेंस. इधर जो है आप ये दोनों पॉइंट्स को कनेक्ट करके आपको एक पॉइंट इधर, एक पॉइंट इधर, एक पॉइंट इधर. When at the intersection of these two circles and your original 2 points, some very interesting things start to happen. Now you can draw two triangles, one triangle going up and one triangle coming down.
you can invert this triangle. And this is very interesting because these triangles are the representation of male energy, which has been created by the female energy. The rounded shapes in sacred geometry is female energy, the Devi energy, while the triangles are the male energy or the Shiva energy. So here you can see how the male energy has been birthed by the female energy.
तो इधर देखें आप, ये जो दो त्रिकोण आए ये गोल के इंटरसेक्शन से, the intersection of the circles allowed three points to emerge which created two triangles. इसको बोलते हैं कि जो सर्कल आपने बनाया वो देवी की एनर्जी होता है. that is a female energy, it's the energy of the Devi. And triangles are considered the masculine energy. And here we call it ये शिव का नक्शा है. The Shivas is represented by the triangles, where the circles are representing the Devi energy. So देवी से ही सृष्टि होता है masculine energy. यानी मेल एनर्जी जो है वो होता है, उसका बर्थिंग होता है पहले फीमेल एनर्जी से. The female energy is required for creation to happen, and from there the male energy happens. So you as a creator have now created male energy and female energy. So we will explore more things here.
So now that we have the 4 points, we can use the points which are on the intersections of the two circles to draw more circles. So we can actually create an entire ring of 6 circles. This is called the seed of life.
तो अभी ऐसी गोल गोल बनाते जाएंगे आप, तो आपको ये 6 सर्कल मिलेंगे वो सेंटर सर्कल की चारों तरफ. हाँ, तो you will get 1 2 3 4 5 6 circles around this center circle. And इसको ज्योमेट्री में बताते हैं seed of life. This 6 circles around one circle, and you can all draw this now. You can draw this. You can continually draw. I will just show you again.
So now that we have the 4 points, we can use the points which are on the intersections of the two circles to draw more circles. So we can actually create an entire ring of 6 circles. This is called the seed of life. Now let's take a moment and stop and let us actually draw this seed of life. The seed of life introduces the concept of spin. If
तो अभी जो है ये 6 सर्कल आप बनाइए. So again I will show that in a little slow mode. I mean I'll just show you very quickly. Okay, you have 2 circles. Now you watch
the intersections of the two circles to draw more circles. So we can actually create.
So देखिए, now you have got 3 circles.
An entire ring
4 circles,
of
5
6.
circle and 6 circles. Okay, just draw this on your paper, because this is how creator created this entire universe, and you'll realize what I am saying when we go more into this course. How this simple thing of putting one dot, one point, drawing a line, drawing a circle, drawing many circles, this is what can create the most rich tapestry of this entire universe. And in Mandala Vaatika, we will see how that happens. तो आपने 6 सर्कल बना दिया. अभी once we have these 6 circles, we can do something very interesting now, because we can start to spin these circles. अगर इन चक्रों को हम घुमाएं तो देखिए क्या होता है.
Circles. This is called the seed of life. Now let's take a moment and stop and let us actually draw this seed of life. The seed of life introduces the concept of spin. If we took these colors on the outer circles and spun it, you would actually get white. It's a way of looking at things differently, introducing the concept of spin. And if you spin the seed of life, you get something that is called a tube torus. Tube torus is an extraordinary structure that's all over the universe. It is the way the Earth's.
तो ये सीड ऑफ लाइफ को अगर आप 3D में घुमाएंगे तो ये मिलता है जो पूरा ब्रह्मांड में भरा हुआ है. Every part of this universe, you can see this tube torus, because this tube torus is a very special structure. The entire universe is encapsulated in this, because it is the only structure which can collapse into itself and continually evolve out of itself. ये ऐसा एक चीज है जो पूरा ब्रह्मांड में मिलेगा आपको, और इसी में जो है इंफिनिटी आपको मिलता है, क्योंकि इसका ना कोई शुरुआत है ना अंत है इसका. It has no beginning, no end, and I will show you how.
Magnetic fields fold into each other. It is there for our own energies. An apple develops using this tube torus. A donut is a tube torus. Everything in the universe is actually some sort of tube torus, because this gives a whole new meaning to infinity.
So you see now that just by starting from a dot, a point, creating a line, creating a circle, creating 6 circles around one circle, and then spinning that, you are creating very complicated forms from a very simple beginning. If you were the creator of the universe, that is how you would think. You would think that what would be the smallest modular structure that you could create, which by simply iterating, simply by spinning it in multiple dimensions, you can get highly complex forms. तो ब्रह्मांड का सृष्टि भी ऐसा ही हुआ होगा कि जहां अपना जो ब्रह्मन है एक छोटा सा बिंदु से शुरू करके एक गोल से, एक सर्कल से 6 सर्कल एक सर्कल की चारों तरफ डाल के उसको घुमा के इतना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड स्ट्रक्चर, जो अभी अर्थ का मैग्नेटिक फील्ड, आप खुद की ऑरा जो है, जो मूलाधार चक्र से आपका एनर्जी कॉन्शियसनेस अंदर होके ऊपर से आपके सिर के ऊपर से फिर वापस जाके फिर वापस आता है, यही ट्यूब टॉरस में आपको दिखाई देता है.
It is the only structure which can fold into itself. मतलब इसका कोई अंतर नहीं होता. There is no beginning, no end, and it can just go on infinitely, folding itself into itself. And this is a very important aspect of creation, where the creation doesn't have a beginning or an end. So, if we go back to the 2D representation of the seed of life and then look at it from a three-dimensional perspective, it becomes the egg of life. Like, actually, if you see an egg, how it divides.
तो देखिए ये सीड ऑफ लाइफ जो 2D में है, अगर उसको 3D में किया तो वो एग ऑफ लाइफ बन जाता है. सारा सृष्टि में जो पौधा या जो भी जानवर या एनिमल, उसका जो शुरुआत होता है वो एक सेल से होता है, और वो सेल का डेवलपमेंट जो है बिल्कुल इसी तरफ होता है. इफ यू सी द डेवलपमेंट फ्रॉम अ सिंगल सेल्ड एग, how one egg splits into 2, then those 2 split into 4, the 4 becomes 16, 4 become 8, and like that. So you can see that entire process actually is, you can do it by rotating this seed of life. When you rotate the seed of life in 3D, you get the egg of life. So as a creator, if you wanted to create life, this is how you will do it.
To create a plant or an animal, this is the configuration which the cells will start to divide. So the seed of life actually gives the egg of life in 3 dimensions, and that is sacred geometry. From just a simple circle and the seed of life, you can create very, very complex shapes. So going back to the seed of life, if you draw one more set of circles around it, you
सो अभी आपका जो सीड ऑफ लाइफ जिसमें 6 सर्कल, ये जो है आपका सेंटर सर्कल था, दिस इज द सेंटर सर्कल विद विच यू स्टार्टेड, एंड देन यू हैव गॉट योर 6 सर्कल्स अराउंड इट. Now, if you continue drawing the next set of circles around it, those circles will create what is called the flower of life. So you keep on putting these circles and you will get the flower of life. So as a part of the homework today, you will actually be doing this. I'm just showing this to you very quickly so that you understand how it evolves. But just try to be with this thought. आप ये सोच के साथ रहिए कि एक छोटा सा बिंदु से जहां से हमने शुरू किया, उसको सिर्फ थोड़ा एक घुमा घुमा के, बस, what does it take? You're only taking the compass and putting one circle after the circle, but you're going to create incredible architecture, incredible tapestry of shapes, complex shapes coming from just the iteration of a circle. So this becomes
what's
the
called the
flower of
flower
life.
of life. And you can see this flower of life, it's all circles, it's the female principle. And this, in this female principle, there is something that is embedded, which the masculine principle is embedded in this. And that particular structure is called the tree of life. I mean, we are not going into that, but we just see how we can make complex from very simple. Now, if I draw one more set of circles around the flower of life, okay, then I will get another structure just by adding one more ring of circles around it. I get one more structure that is called the fruit of life.
तो ये फ्लावर ऑफ लाइफ के जो राउंड था, तो शुरू किया हमने एक बिंदु से, फिर हमने एक सर्कल लगाया, फिर सीड ऑफ लाइफ बनाया, फिर फ्लावर ऑफ लाइफ बनाया. इफ वी कंटिन्यू टू इटरेट द फ्लावर ऑफ लाइफ, वी गेट द फ्रूट ऑफ लाइफ. This is a very complicated structure, but it is all coming from very simple. So you will do something, you will attempt something like this as a part of the homework, which I will be sharing with you. So you will do this tomorrow and you will bring it to the class tomorrow when we start. But please attempt it. आप जरूर attempt कीजिए. ये सब मैं जो बता रहा हूं, ये बहुत simple है. It's like a meditative process. Once you start drawing the circles will keep happening. The mandala will talk to you. The sacred geometry will operate through you. वो मंडला जो है आपकी हाथों से वो अपने आप ये पूरा नक्शा जो है वो खींचेगी. तो वो एक्सपीरियंस जरूर लेने का है आप.
Yeah. Now, this fruit of life again is the female principle, but from this fruit of life, you can extract something that is very, very important in sacred geometry called the Metatron's cube. The Metatron's cube is like the masculine principle that creates in 3D fundamental shapes that are prevalent in geometry. So,
तो ये जो आपका फ्रूट ऑफ लाइफ का जो ड्राइंग है, उसमें एम्बेडेड है, उसमें रहस्य है कि पूरा ब्रह्मांड का सृष्टि कैसा हुआ. इसको बोलते हैं मेटाट्रॉन्स क्यूब. और ये मेटाट्रॉन्स क्यूब इससे एक्सट्रैक्ट होता है. यानी द सेम सर्कल्स दैट यू ड्रू जस्ट वन आफ्टर द अदर, here in 2D is represented the fundamental building blocks of all universe. And that is why this is called the Metatron's cube, and you will realize what I am talking very soon.
for tonight's homework, you will actually draw this Metatron's cube. I will give you a link to a video which you can follow, and you will all draw this just to get used to the compass and set squares. So going back to the Metatron's cube, if you cut it, you will get the five fundamental shapes which are called the Platonic solids. These are the only shapes, if you put them inside a sphere, all the edges will touch the sphere and all the sides, the length of all the sides are the same.
What you need to understand here is the entire universe can be broken up into these five shapes, three-dimensional shapes. These are called Platonic solids. Okay. Now, Plato, they were named after Plato, Platonic solids. The thing about it is, if you put the solid into a sphere, all the points will touch the sphere and all the sides will be exactly of the same length. So just five shapes which are coming, it started with a dot and a line, then a circle, then complex series of circles. From that fruit of life, you can create a Metatron's cube, and from the Metatron's cube, if you cut the Metatron's cube, you get the five fundamental shapes through with which the entire universe is created. ओके तो पूरा ब्रह्मांड जो है सिर्फ ये पांच शेप से, ये पांच रूप से बना हुआ है, जिसको फाइव प्लेटोनिक सॉलिड्स बोलते हैं, जो ये मेटाट्रॉन्स क्यूब में छिपा हुआ है, वो एक रहस्य है. तो जब आप मेटाट्रॉन क्यूब को आप उसका नक्शा खींचेंगे घर पे, तो आप महसूस करेंगे ये पांच सॉलिड्स को.
There are some others which follow this, but they are essentially brought from either joining or cutting the edges. But still, these are the fundamental five Platonic solids. Everything in this world, the room you're sitting in, the computer that you have in front of you, your entire body and cellular structure, everything is made of these five shapes. In fact, the entire periodic table can be reduced to these five Platonic shapes. So you can see, just by taking a compass and drawing a circle, you are creating the entire world. And this is how actually virtual reality is created. If you see the gaming software like Unreal Engine X that is there, they just use these fundamental uh, tessellations of simple geometry to create complex things like the storm clouds in Jupiter or Saturn. I mean, they all will still come from this one Metatron's cube. It's incredible. So when you draw the Metatron's cube tonight, you need to know that you are actually following what the Creator did when He created this entire world.
So I will be sending you a link to a video which will show you how to create this Metatron's cube. So you will understand that if you were the creator, पहले कुछ नहीं था, फिर एक बिंदु डाला आपने, दो बिंदु डाला, एक लाइन डाला, एक गोल खींचा, गोल खींच के you created this Metatron's cube which has embedded in it the five fundamental Platonic solids. And just by a combination of Platonic solids, everything in this universe, even जो periodic table हम देखते हैं ये सारे के सारे तत्वों का, the periodic table is created, every element is created through these Platonic solids. The structure is one of these Platonic solids. So you will be actually doing, आप जो करेंगे वो जो आप प्रोसेस आपका होएगा, वो प्रोसेस ये है कि अगर सृष्टिकार, ये पूरा ब्रह्मांड का सृष्टिकार बैठा है, तो ऐसा ही किया होगा. The creator would have used very, very fundamental principles of geometry to create this complex universe. And in sacred geometry, in Mandala Vaatika, we explore this. We explore how the creator would have created all these tattvas. Yeah. So this is what you will be doing as a part of your homework. And what we will be talking about now is that in this sacred geometry, there must be a connection. Now, this sacred geometry and vibrations must have a connection. That connection is called the science of cymatics. Cymatics एक विज्ञान है जो समझता है कि ये मंडला और बीज मंत्र के बीच में क्या संबंध है. बहुत ही गहरा संबंध है, बिकॉज ज्योमेट्री एक्चुअली कम्स from sound. Sound can be created from mathematical equations. Geometry is created actually when we are drawing geometry. This geometry is nothing but very simple mathematical equations. Very simple mathematics you create. Okay, suppose you take pi r square. It's a simple function of area to radius, and that gives circles. Yeah. So like that, you get the sine waves and cos waves, and you get trigonometry, and you get all the wave functions in mathematics. Yeah. The Fourier transformation, you get anything. You take all the mathematics and topology. It is coming from very simple equations. And in Mandala Vaatika, we explore a cutting edge of mathematics called fractal geometry. फ्रैक्टल ज्योमेट्री हम उसमें देखेंगे कि एक छोटा सा एक इक्वेशन उसमें से पूरा ब्रह्मांड बन सकता है. Just a small thing. जैसा अभी देखा ना आपने, just by tessellating circles, you created the Metatron. Metatron, you got the 5 platonic solids. They are the building blocks of the universe. With those 5 solids, you can make entire thing. But where did those lines come from? Where did those blocks come from? What is that tattva which is operating there? That is what you will learn in Mandala Vaatika. Yeah. So now, okay, there are a lot of people. Some people say that you have not received the PDF document. Now, if you have not checked the email ID which you have used to register for this course, or if there was a mistake in that email ID, you will not get these. So there were a lot of people who had registered with some other email ID, but they are checking their mails in some other email ID. It may have gone into a spam folder, whatever it is. But from our side, I personally send to every registered participant's email ID. I personally send the emails. So please check your inboxes carefully and make sure you're using the email ID with which you did the registration. Yeah, that's very important. But however, today I will resend for you the PDF of the flowers that will be required on day number 4. Okay. Now, ये मंडला वाटिका में जो है, ये science of cymatics is very important. Okay. So what we do is, I do something. I actually, हम जुगाड़ टेक्नोलॉजी यूज करते हैं. तो मैंने क्या किया कि एक स्पीकर है. This is a speaker on which the cone I have attached. So onto the cone, I have attached a ceramic piece, a cylinder, and this vibrates. If I connect this to an audio frequency or a mic, I can make the frequency come on the speaker, and this will start to vibrate. Yeah. So if I put a plate like this on this, and I will put a black paper like this on it. So I'll put the plate and then I put this on that. On this black paper, if I put some salt or sand, कुछ रेती या कुछ लगा देता हूं मैं वो ब्लैक पेपर पे, और ये स्पीकर में हम साउंड देते हैं, वो वाइब्रेशन से मंडला बनता है. That is called science of cymatics, and we will see what happens when I do these experiments with this cymatics. Yeah. So I have connected this to a frequency generator, and the frequency generator will generate different wave frequencies, and I'm capturing the patterns that come from there. So you saw that. आप देखें कि ये frequency इसका जैसे ही बढ़ता गया. So from 400 hertz, I went all the way up to 6,000 hertz. And you saw how you saw the mandalas being formed. आप रंगोली देखा हुआ होगा उसमें. You saw the column or the rangoli or the patterns that are being generated. This is created by interference. By the interference of the waves, you create geometry. So this is why we say in Mandala Vaatika that the geometry and the Bij mantras, they are very, very, very significant. They are very, very important, and they blend with each other very well. Yeah. So I will just show you another quick slide. And this is a lot of collaborative effort with Evan Grant, who is one of the foremost people in the science of cymatics. There's a small TED talk that he's giving. And after this, one of these sort of collaborative efforts where you can see actually experiments with Bij mantras.
I'm a creative technologist, and the focus of my work is on public installations. And one of my driving passions is this idea of exploring nature and trying to find hidden data within nature. And it seems to me that there's this latent potential everywhere, all around us. Everything gives out some kind of data, whether it's sound or smell or vibration. And through my work, I've been trying to find ways to harness and unveil this. And so this basically led me to a subject called cymatics. Now, cymatics is the process of visualizing sound by basically vibrating a medium such as sand or water, as you can see there. We can also use cymatics as a looking glass into nature, and we can actually recreate the archetypal forms of nature. So for example, here on the left, we can see a snowflake as it would appear in nature, and then on the right, we can see a cymatically created snowflake. And here's a starfish and a cymatic starfish, and there's thousands of these. So what does this all mean? Well, there's still a lot to explore, and it's early days, and there's not many people working in this field. But consider for a moment that sound does have form, and we've seen that it can affect matter and cause form within matter. Then sort of take a leap and think about the universe forming, and think about the immense sound of the universe forming. And if we kind of ponder on that, then perhaps cymatics had an influence on the formation of the universe itself.
It's a window into another dimension.
Cut 11 was very interesting.
Cut 2 is amazing, because this second track is just like, it freaked me out completely. I've never seen anything like it.
Ah.
Wait till you see. That was amazing. I have never seen anything like that. Never. Oh, I'm so.
तो आपने देखा ना, इतना सा एक जुगाड़ टेक्नोलॉजी. You've seen something that is very simple contraption, which we figured out using a simple speaker, and then using just sand or salt, see the connection. And you saw there is one sound where you just got those rounds. Yeah. just be with that and just think over it tonight, because when you're drawing the Durga Mandala Vaatika, you will come to a point where you will draw 4 circles, and that same Bij mantra is embedded in that Durga Mandala. Yeah. So there's a lot of interesting things that you will find as we go along in the next 3 days. But let me just quickly tell you why Durga Mandala Vatika was chosen for this. In July, we did Varamahalakshmi Mandala, and we did the Siddhivinayaka Mandala, which is the Ganapati Mandala. Now, this time, Gurudev blessed for Durga Mandala Vatika to happen. Durga energy is something phenomenal. She is what we call a disruptor in modern management science or marketing science. She is called a disruptor. You know, like Airbnb is a disruptor in the real estate industry. उसके पास एक भी मकान नहीं है, लेकिन सबसे बड़ा रियल एस्टेट कंपनी है Airbnb. उसको डिसरप्टर कहते हैं. We call it a disruptor. Uber, Ola, they don't own one vehicle, but they are the largest transportation company. So they are disruptors. So during this auspicious period of Navaratri, and that too, this is the Adhik Mas. Ye Navaratri hai Adhik Mas ke saath. And where are we today? In this COVID, we are in a phase of disruption. This COVID manifestation is a typical manifestation of Durga Tattva. ये दुर्गा तत्व एक ऐसा तत्व है जो एकदम अव्यवस्था, व्यवस्था is order, अव्यवस्था is chaos. So she is something who creates order out of chaos. Abhi, there is all around us, there is chaos. Nobody knows with this COVID what it's going to do, how it's going to do. We all like stability, predictability, stable. We want everything to be planned. We want to know what happens in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. Suddenly COVID has come. We have no idea. ये अव्यवस्था जो है completely shake करता है. ये chaotics, एक chaos situation. So this chaos is typically the manifestation of Durga. So Gurudev thought, Puja Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar thought that in this time of chaos, experiencing and knowing and understanding the Durga Tattva through Durga Mandala Vatika will be of great help to us. Because ये जो Durga Mandala Vatika में जो आपका अनुभव रहेगा, जो आपका पहचान रहेगा दुर्गा तत्व का, उससे जो है ये जो हो रहा है, ये जो chaos है अभी दुनिया में, इसको निभाने का कुछ रहस्य हमें पहचान में आएगा, हमको पहचान में आएगा. We will understand certain principles by which we can ride the wave of chaos. So there is chaos all around us. We can fight the chaos, which 99% of us are trying to do. We are trying to resist the chaos. We are resisting change. We are resisting uncertainty. We are getting frustrated. We are getting stressed. We can't sleep. High tension. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. And then there are few of us who are riding that chaos, like a surfer on a wave. बड़े बड़े लहर है, लेकिन कुछ लोग जो है ना उसको आसानी से तैर रहे हैं. They are swimming over those waves or surfing the waves. Mandala Vatika gives you hints. It gives you deep hints of how to surf chaos, because it is only from chaos that order can emerge. And in Mandala Vatika, you realize that order and chaos are both complementary forces. There's two sides of the same coin. जितना chaos होता है, उतना ही stability होता है. Chaos and stability happen as an integral part of this creation. And we will see how that happens. We will be discussing cutting-edge chaos theory. We will be talking about Feigenbaum constant, for example. Scientist doesn't know where Feigenbaum constant is coming from. But in the mandala of Durga, Durga ki mandala mein wo rahasya sab छिपा हुआ है. chaos का रहस्य उसमें है. The principle of chaos theory is in that mandala, and when we draw the mandala, we will understand where that chaos is. Understanding that, experiencing, and then understanding how to ride that tattva of Durga. That is what you will learn from this course. That is your takeaway. In this time of chaos because of COVID, how do you use that same tattva of a disruptor? Durga is a disruptor wave function. But if you know how that is, जब हम दुर्गा का मंडला बनाएंगे तो वो पूरा उधर है रहस्य. दुर्गा तत्व कहां से आया, उसका शुरुआत कहां से था, वो कैसा पैदा हुआ, how was she born, how was that wave function, how did that wave function evolve? It evolved because of interaction of other wave functions. So we will see the geometry of that. We will see the mathematics of chaos theory. And we will see how all this will help us understand how to ride chaos. So this is the beauty of what you will take away from this course. And this is an experiential course. So जो अभी homework दिया गया है, Metatron's cube आपको, आप उसका नक्शा खींचने का, please do it. Because from day one, you have to become the creator. आप पहले दिन से ही सृष्टिकार बनने का है ये पूरा ब्रह्मांड का. So you become the creator, and that is what drawing this. पहले आप कंपास डाल के ऐसा घुमाएंगे ना, that is the starting of creation. From there we will go into very deep levels of chaos theory. We will understand the geometry in the mandala of Durga, and then we will bring in the plants. That's we will do on day 3. We will bring in the plants. Yeah. So slowly, step by step, Gurudev has said that in this course, there is so much of knowledge, modern science, Vedic science, landscape architecture, botany, plant frequencies. There is so much, but we must bring all this in 8 hours so that even the most simple person can experience the Durga Tattva and know how to ride the wave. How to ride that wave of chaos. Who is a disruptor? Disruption is very important in this world, because without disruption, evolution doesn't happen. And Durga Tattva is one of those things where order comes out of chaos. If you see the theory of chaos, every time there is chaos, the next order will be of a higher equilibrium state. जो पहले था उससे बेहतर होएगा ये अस्तित्व के बाद में, अपस्तत्व के बाद में, है ना? तो after chaos, the stability you will get will be of a higher plane. So Durga energy manifests that. She is the basis of that. She was brought in. So हम पुराण में भी जाएंगे कि पुराण क्या बताता है दुर्गा की तत्व के बारे में, और वो रहस्य अपनी मंडला में किधर है, उसका experience. So all these things will come together in this course. So there is a lot. There is science, there is Vedas, there is mathematics, there is understanding of the plants, there is everything put together, but for you to experience and use it in your day-to-day life. So let me take some quick questions. Don't worry about could not understand how to make up. You will get. I just showed you the video for you to get an overall view. Does the 5 solids constitute the Pancha Tattvas? Very, very interesting question. Keep that question. We will come back to it. Internet and connection, you will have to check your router. Frequencies displayed have been increased in steps. What are the understanding or science between? So the mandalas, when there is an interference pattern, at a certain point, it clicks. So we will show you the mathematics of it. हम एक गणित का table, we'll explore times table at some point here. 2 times 1, 2. 2 times 2, 4. 2 times 3, 6. As a child, you would have learnt it. But I will show you the question you ask why there were incremental values which created patterns. It will come from there. We will show that. Avyavastha. Avyavastha. Yeah, okay, thanks. I think that was somebody trying to clear my Hindi. And please send the link. Of course, you will get the link for the Durga Tattva Disruptor. Seems like Mahesh the Transformer. Are they similar? Very interesting. Go to the history of how Durga was created. Very interesting. We will explore that. Every one of these tattvas are wave functions. They are geometries, actually. You will experience that. Overwhelming calming effect as soon as the chord started. We must explore what patterns are created on musical notes. See, musical notes are notes, but we are talking here of wave functions. Okay, so I can say Om, I can say it in any note. I can say it in Sa, I can say it in Re, I can say it in Ga. Musical notes are only the difference of the intervals between the frequencies. Bij mantras are wave functions themselves. So that is the difference. Yeah. Someone missed the last. Don't worry. Anybody who has missed any part of this talk, first day one, you will get the recording and you can watch it for 24 hours. So आराम से आप बैठ के पूरा recording देखिए. Can I get this experience every day in my life? Sure, you can. Why not? Indeed. So when you chant Om, what is the pattern? Does it go back to the original circle? It did go back to the original circle, but the Om was not a circle, it was an oval. And we will see that, how that Om will come through mathematics. In that 2 times table, no? 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 2. I will show you. Just be with me. Very, very interesting things you will see. Each mantra creates different pattern. Each mantra is a Bij mantra whose interaction with the geometry and the plant creates the tattva. So Durga Tattva, there are 3 components: the plant, the geometry, and the Bij mantra. And in this course, you will experience all 3. So why do we draw Rangoli outside our home? Is it a scientific reason? It is the remnant of a science called Mandala Vaatika. Okay, so 10:30 sharp, and I will close the session for today. Please do your homework. I will send you the recording and I'll send you the link. It will take some time for me to do that. Take me about an hour to do that. Don't worry. आप पूरा दिन है कल, आप जरूर, but take the trouble to draw the Metatron. Yeah. So Metatron link, I will try and send it to you immediately. But the recording of the day, it will take a little time because it has to come from Zoom and things like that. Okay. So I wish you all a very, very pleasant night, and looking forward to all of you back, where we will explore some cutting edge mathematics. And we will explore. Tomorrow we'll start drawing the Durga Mandala. So all very exciting stuff. And I look forward to each one of you interacting with me tomorrow. Thank you very much. You all have a wonderful night ahead of you. Jai Gurudev.